Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we're going to be detectives. We're going to solve one of the biggest little mysteries in the English language, the great noun puzzle. We're going to crack this case together, and trust me, by the end of this, you'll be a total noun expert.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Here's the heart of our puzzle. Have you ever thought about this? Why can you say 2 apples, but it sounds totally wrong to say 2 waters? What is the secret rule here? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out.
You know, in any good detective story, to solve a mystery, you need clues. And for this case, there are 2 really big ones we need to track down. Once we find these clues, the whole puzzle is just going to snap right into place. So, you ready to start the investigation?
So our very first clue leads us to a group I like to call the countable crew. These are the nouns that are pretty straightforward. They follow a really logical pattern. Let's get to know them.
The biggest rule for the countable crew is right there in the name. You can count them. Simple as that. If you can put a number right in front of a noun and it makes sense, well, you're dealing with a countable noun.
For instance, you can have 1 book.
You can have 2 books.
Or 3 books. See how easy that is? You can just keep on counting. This is like the signature move of the countable crew.
And this crew has a couple of other dead giveaways. First, they can be singular, which just means one, like a cat, or they can be plural, meaning more than one, like many cats. And you almost always see them hanging out with words like a, an, or a number.
Okay, clue number 1 is in the bag, so let's move on to our second clue. And this one, well, this one takes us to a totally different place, the uncountable universe. The rules here are, let's just say, a little more mysterious. The nouns in this universe are things you just can't line up and count individually. I mean, think about it. Stuff like water or sand, or even abstract ideas like homework or happiness. They exist as a whole, like a single mass, not as a bunch of separate pieces.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine trying to count every single tiny grain of rice in a bowl. It's impossible, right? And saying 2 rices just sounds wrong. That feeling you get is your brain's alarm bell, telling you you're deep in the uncountable universe.
So this brings up the most important question, doesn't it? If we can't just stick a number in front of them, how in the world do we talk about how much of something we have? It sounds tricky, but don't worry, there's a really clever secret.
And here it is, the big secret. We don't count them, we measure them. And we usually do this in 2 main ways. We either talk about them using a container, or we use a set of special words to describe the amount.
So for example, you can't have 2 waters, but you can definitely have a glass of water. You can't ask for 3 rices, but you can ask for a bowl of rice. We also use these great words like some milk or a lot of homework. These containers and these special words are our essential tools for getting around the uncountable universe.
All right, detectives, we've gathered our clues, we've met the countable crew, and we've explored the uncountable universe. I think it's time for the final showdown, where we put everything together and officially solve this mystery once and for all.
Okay, let's lay all the evidence out, side by side. The countable crew, you can count them with numbers. They have both singular and plural forms, and they use words like many or a few. Now contrast that with the uncountable universe. You can't count them, they usually don't have a plural form, and they use words like much or some. This comparison right here, this is the key that cracks our entire original case of apples versus water.
So, the big case might be solved, but your work as a noun detective? Oh, it's just getting started. Now, it's time for you to take what you've learned and apply it to a few new cases. Let's see just how sharp your detective skills really are.
All right, here's your first case. The sentence is, she bought 3 apples. The noun we're looking at is apples. So what do you think? Is it from the countable crew or the uncountable universe?
And the answer is countable. Yes! If you said countable, you are absolutely right. Case closed. The biggest clue, of course, is the number right there in the sentence, 3. Plus, you can easily picture counting them out. 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples.
Okay, ready for a tougher one? This case is a little trickier. The noun is homework. Now remember, this is an abstract idea, and those can be masters of disguise. So, what's the verdict? Countable or uncountable?
The answer is uncountable. Excellent work if you got that one. How do we know? Well, the clue is the phrase a lotta homework. That's one of those special measuring phrases. You would never ever say, I have 3 homeworks, right?
And that's how you know it belongs to the uncountable universe.
And here's one last tip, just for our expert detectives. Keep an eye out for these really common but tricky uncountables: information, advice, and furniture. A lot of people make mistakes with these, but not you, because now you know the secret.
So, when it all comes down to it, here's the one simple rule of thumb you can always carry with you. Before you use a noun, just ask yourself this: can I put a number right in front of it? If the answer is yes, like with apples, it's almost certainly countable. If the answer is no, like with water, it's uncountable.
And that brings us to your final mission. The mystery is solved, your training is complete. So I want you to look around the room you're in right now. Can you find 3 things that belong to the countable crew and 3 that belong to the uncountable universe? See, the puzzle is everywhere, and now you have all the skills you need to solve it. Happy detecting!